Howdy y'all, got the Bulldog on the channel. I've done a video on one of these before, but this one, we kind of knew more about it whenever it came in. The last one, I was actually starting a video and sitting down there looking, and I saw something and it took me off guard because it was bad. This one's not nearly as bad, but it's bad nonetheless. Yeah, there's not a lot holding the rear end in this thing. So the first thing we want to do is stabilize it. All right. We want to pick up just a little bit. We don't want to take any weight off the truck. We want to take the axle weight off of it, and it'll hold it in place while I get them bolts swapped out. This truck has had a lot of problems. Rust is an issue, but this is an extra vehicle, which is part of the reason why it's been waiting so long. It's got a lot of problems, but first off, we're gonna take care of these bolts, and this is a very common problem on a lot of Chevy trucks from 88 all the way up into like 2000 or something like that. The reason for that, I just explained it before, but you see this bracket here that the bolts go into, it's dished up and it holds stuff right there. It's, you know, people that were smarter and more educated than me somehow thought that would work, and I have to fix their problem that they created. You know, they could turn it over, dish it the other way. Well, that would stick down too far, you know, like the bolts don't. But, you know, I'm not bitter or anything. I'm gonna do one side at a time, and I gotta chisel all that rust out of there and make sure that the bracket is not rusted completely out so that we can reuse it. It's also got a brake line bad somewhere back here. I don't know exactly where. It's got power steering fluid running out of it. It needs some service. It's been waiting here a year, and I'm not kidding. It's been a year. We have experienced the longest running time of constant bookings that I've seen since I've started here 26 years ago. This isn't the longest, the one that's been here the longest either. If it can get put off, it got put off, which it got ridiculous. You know, this one here, at least it was, well, they're all kind of spare vehicles. There's some of them we haven't heard from the people in months. Maybe they forgot they had it. But I got two of them done that had been here quite some time. One of them went out the door on its own power, and we've had others that were too far gone to save. So we're going to get jumped on this one and see if we can get it taken care of. Okay, we're getting set up to do this now. Hopefully you get lucky, and when you start hitting this with your impact, it just breaks off in here. It makes it a whole lot easier. If you're not like, I have seen these things where they were already broke off, and I've had to back them all the way off of that. Now, explain to me how it can be rusted so bad right here that this will hold still. It's good design. I'm gonna put you on time lapse, and you can watch me struggle. We got it off of here. It chose to be difficult, so I chose violence, and it got it off. But this is the one that was broken. I don't think there's any broken on the other side. You can see how they just narrow down until there's nothing left. And then this stupid thing wouldn't twist off. It was narrowed down just as much, but it wouldn't just twist off and make my day easier. So, you know, I got after it. Now I'm gonna beat this one out, and then take a needle scaler and knock all this scaly rust off of everywhere and get a surface where I can determine whether or not this piece is still gonna be usable or not. All right, it's not perfectly clean, but I've gotten down to the bottom of this and I can tell there's no rust holes or thin spots or anything. I've seen them to where they had a thin spot here and there, and I reused it because the truck was, you know, approaching the end of its life anyway. But this one looks pretty darn good, so we're gonna go with it. We're gonna put this side back together and then I'll do the other side. Okay, now when you're running these up, you run them up nice and even, especially between the two sides. Now I slid these down over the top. There's a plate that goes up here. You gotta clean the rust off of it. Also, make sure it's sitting on your tie bolt, and these things set in the saddle really good. And that's why I like to have it hanging down just a freckle, and then let it pull up into it. Make sure everything is seated properly, and then importantly, test drive it and then retorque them. I just ran them down with the impact right now. I'll torque them later after they scooch around and set into place. These U-bolts we do not get from the parts stores. We have a spring and frame repair shop. Probably just a spring shop now. I don't think anybody does frame repairs much anymore. But we get them from there because it is grade 8 steel. They don't stretch. I've gotten them from the parts store before and they never torque up. They never get tight. You just keep on turning and it just stretches the bolt out. That ain't good. So I get them there and it's just as cheap as getting them from the parts store. So we'll just, you know, keep the business local. So I'm going to swap over and do the other side. It's the same thing. This is a little different than the other video I did, but that's been like a year and a half, 2 years ago. So like, comment, subscribe, hit your little bell notification, share it all around. We'll talk to you later.